Have you ever felt like someone was sending you signals, but you couldn't quite prove it? Little moments that felt intentional, yet subtle enough to deny. Now imagine that person is married. That's where things become layered and complicated. Before going any further, let's be clear. This isn't about encouraging anyone to cross lines or disrespect a marriage. It's about understanding human psychology and recognizing behaviors that people may not even realize they're showing. When you learn to read subtle cues, you start to understand interactions on a much deeper level. First, let's talk about context. Why would a married woman show interest outside her relationship? The truth is, relationships are complex. Marriage does not erase human emotion. Sometimes emotional needs go unmet. It could be a lack of attention, appreciation, or meaningful connection. That doesn't automatically mean her marriage is broken. But when someone else provides validation, listens closely, or notices small details, that attention can create a spark. Often it's not even about physical attraction at first. It might be the fact that you remembered something she mentioned weeks ago, or you complimented her in a way that felt thoughtful instead of routine. When someone feels seen, especially if they felt overlooked, that attention stands out. But here's where maturity matters. Not every smile or conversation carries hidden meaning. Some people are naturally warm and engaging. The key is observing patterns. Is her energy directed toward everyone, or does it shift specifically when you're around? Does she make deliberate efforts to connect with you beyond normal friendliness? Body language is usually the first giveaway. Lingering eye contact is powerful. If she holds your gaze just a little longer than usual, or looks at you from across the room and quickly looks away when you notice, that back and forth glance can signal interest. Eye contact builds silent connection. Then there are grooming gestures, adjusting her hair when you're near, smoothing her clothes, touching her neck or face. These are often unconscious behaviors people display when they want to look their best for someone. They seem small, but psychologically, they're meaningful. Watch her posture, too. If she leans toward you during conversation, keeps her body angled in your direction, or maintains open, relaxed body language, that suggests comfort and engagement. But if someone else walks in and her posture suddenly closes off, that contrast can be telling. Shifts often reveal more than steady behavior. Now let's talk about communication. When interest is present, conversations tend to deepen. A simple question might turn into a long personal story. She may open up about thoughts, frustrations, or experiences she doesn't normally share. That level of detail signals she values the connection. Pay attention to what she remembers. If she brings up small details you mentioned weeks ago, references your preferences, or recalls something minor you forgot you said, that shows attentiveness. People remember what matters to them. Compliments are another layer. Friendly compliments are common. But when she praises your personality, your intelligence, your character, or the way you handle situations, that goes beyond surface-level politeness. Tone matters too. Warmth and sincerity can make even simple words carry weight. Effort is one of the strongest indicators. Does she find reasons to be around you? Showing up where you are, joining activities you're involved in, walking past your space more often than necessary. These coincidences can be subtle attempts to create proximity without openly initiating anything. You might also notice sudden curiosity about your interests. If you mention a hobby and she later asks for recommendations or brings it up again, that can signal she's looking for common ground. Shared interests create safe ways to bond. Still, the most important takeaway is balance. No single behavior proves anything. Only repeated patterns over time suggest deeper meaning. And even then, awareness must come with responsibility. Recognizing signals is not permission to act recklessly. It's about understanding dynamics with emotional intelligence. Respect always comes first. Attraction, especially in complex situations, should be handled with maturity and integrity. At the end of the day, human behavior is layered. Sometimes people communicate what they cannot say directly. Your job is not to jump to conclusions, but to observe calmly and think critically. Here is your fully rewritten, smooth, natural version. Same meaning, stronger flow, cleaner psychology, no repetition. It's a subtle way to create common ground without making anything obvious. When someone starts aligning their interests with yours, it can be a quiet attempt to build connection while still maintaining control. If you begin noticing consistent patterns like this, they may not be random acts of friendliness. They could be her way of staying close while trying to manage emotions she doesn't want exposed. But this is where it gets even more layered. Her behavioral contradictions. When a married woman is hiding attraction, hesitation often becomes one of the biggest clues. Watch how she behaves in public settings. Around other people, she may suddenly become distant. In a group, she might avoid eye contact or act as if you're just another person in the room. This isn't always disinterest. In many cases, it's deliberate emotional damage control. She doesn't want attention drawn to the dynamic, so she creates distance to protect herself. Ironically, that avoidance can say just as much as engagement. Another common shift happens during interruptions. When you're alone, conversation flows naturally. There's warmth, ease, maybe even subtle tension. But the moment someone else joins, her energy changes. She may cut the conversation short, become more formal, or physically step back. That sudden withdrawal often reflects fear of perception. She's not retreating from you, she's retreating from potential exposure. The contrast is what matters most. In private, she's relaxed and open. In public, she's guarded and controlled. That push and pull creates visible tension. It's like she's balancing on a tightrope between desire and responsibility. Sometimes this tension shows up as overcorrection. She may act overly professional with you in front of others, or she might deliberately give attention to someone else in the group to redirect focus. These behaviors aren't random mood swings. They're protective strategies. And here's something important. When someone is hiding feelings, the strongest clues are often in what they avoid. The conversation that suddenly ends, the eye contact that quickly breaks, the physical space she creates when others are watching. Silence can speak loudly if you know how to interpret it. Now let's talk about mixed signals. Few things are more confusing than inconsistency. One day she's warm, playful, engaged. The next day she barely acknowledges you. She laughs at your jokes, initiates conversation, remembers small details, and then suddenly becomes distant. This emotional fluctuation usually reflects internal conflict. On one side, she feels drawn to you. On the other side, there's guilt, fear, or loyalty to her marriage. That inner struggle creates instability in her behavior. Environment plays a huge role here. In private settings, she may relax and allow the connection to show. In public, especially around people who know her well, she tightens up emotionally. That inconsistency isn't random. It's emotional self-protection. Another critical sign is avoidance of direct confirmation. Even if all the subtle signs are present, lingering glances, thoughtful conversations, deliberate proximity, she will likely never admit to anything openly. Acknowledging those feelings would mean crossing a psychological boundary she isn't prepared to cross. If you ever hint at the tension, she may deflect, minimize, joke, or deny it entirely. Not because nothing exists, but because saying it out loud makes it real. Keeping things ambiguous allows her to maintain control without fully confronting the situation. Now here's the most important part: how you handle it. No matter how strong the signals may seem, she is married. That commitment matters. Acting impulsively can cause emotional damage not just to her marriage, but to your own peace and reputation. Before doing anything, step back and evaluate the bigger picture. Ask yourself, does this align with my values? Is temporary chemistry worth long-term consequences? Respect is non-negotiable. Also, reflect on your own role. Are you unintentionally encouraging the dynamic? Sometimes a smile, extra attention, or personal conversation can unintentionally reinforce emotional closeness. Awareness goes both ways. If you sense things crossing into uncomfortable territory, create space calmly. Limit one-on-one situations. Keep conversations appropriate. Shift the tone gently but clearly. If necessary, you can set boundaries without accusation. Something simple like, I value our conversations, but I think it's important we keep things respectful and appropriate, sends a strong message without creating drama. Integrity is attractive. Emotional discipline is powerful. So what have we really learned? Subtle attraction often shows up through body language, deeper conversations, remembered details, and intentional proximity. But mixed signals, hesitation in public, and refusal to acknowledge feelings reveal inner conflict. The key is awareness, not action. Recognizing dynamics doesn't mean pursuing them, Mature individuals understand that not every connection is meant to be explored. Sometimes the strongest move is restraint. Healthy relationships, romantic or platonic, are built on trust, respect, and ethical choices. Protect your character. Protect your peace. Because in complex situations like this, self-control isn't weakness, it's strength.